Okay, a bit of finger picking. So that's a little simple version of Pink Floyd's Brain Damage from Dark Side of the Moon, and we're going to use that just as a model to talk about picking. And it's kind of the Travis picking thing where you're playing. What we're trying to do with the picking hand is keep a bass line going, an alternating bass line going on the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then play melody notes with the fingers around it. And that sort of creates that, it's got a lovely musical quality because you've got two parts going on at the same time. So it's not too much, once you're comfortable fretting chords, it's not too much work on this hand because we can, on the whole, hold the positions. And that's what we'll start off with a D and do nothing down here apart from hold the D. And the way to ease into this, start off with just the bass and get really comfortable playing that bass line on the beat. And you pick a 1 beat, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And really try and, even though we're not going anywhere musically exactly, just try and settle into that feeling of the bars passing. 4, 1, 2. And then when you feel comfortable doing that, when your thumb's in that pattern back and forth, then you can start by playing one melody note on the 1 beat in unison with the bass. So it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So you see I'm playing D string and the E string at the same time on beat 1. 1, 2, and then the remaining bass notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's our bass. 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. All right. That's like step 1 and 2, if you like. And then we can let's introduce another melody note on beat 3, and we'll play a different string. So on beat 1 we're going to play the E string, and on beat 3 the B string, which is 3rd fret because it's a D, so it's a D note. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the Radiohead thing, right? Well, how does that go? 1, 2, 3, 4. And just do this at a tempo where you're comfortable and you can be conscious of what you're doing. Really try to separate those in your mind. You've got the bass for 1, 2, and the melody on the top. 1, 3. Okay? Now to make it, we're going to separate the parts now, and that's where it starts to get really musical. And bring that second melody note off the beat. Okay, so we're going to play 1, 2, and 3, 4. Put that D note of that B string on the and after 2. So that's 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. And you notice the bass doesn't speed up or slow down. It just keeps at that beat. 1, 2, and 3. And that off beat now, the note on the and after 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 1, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4 just fits right in the middle of beats 2 and 3. It's easier to feel it than it is to count it, really, if you like. So just try to feel that bass still going and squeeze that B string off the beat. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. Right? Now let's throw another melody note back on the top string, but on the and after 3. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And now that bass line's still on the beat. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So now you really have that with 2 notes off the beat like that. It really starts to create some rhythmic dynamics. It's really cool. Thumb in the bass and fingers on the top. So all the fingers are really doing is this. and the bass is obviously doing the alternating. And when you lay the two over the top of each other, it creates that lovely sound. Now, if you can work up to that, that is a great milestone. It really is. That's a fantastic point to reach. And then the next thing you can do, and start playing a song really, is change this hand and fret a different chord. The second chord in that Floyd tune is a G7th, right? So a full G7 looks like this, doesn't it? Third in the bass, second on the A string, open, 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 and then first fret at the top to make it a 7th chord. So in order to then accompany ourselves in the bass with a new chord, we need to move our bass notes down onto the low string and alternate like that. You can really pick whichever ones you like, I would say, but they have to be in the lower register, right? So let's say we're going to play those ones, and do the same picking melody pattern over the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and melody. So we have 2 bars of D. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and G7th. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and back to D. That's obviously a bit easier said than done, but with practice we get there. Now, if that G7th is a bit of a stretch, if it feels uncomfortable, or you don't want to think about fretting so far across when you're working on the picking technique, you can play a G7th just on the top 4 strings and keep your bass alternating on the D and the G string, just like on the D chord. So there's your bass for D7, for D, sorry, and for G7 we can just play the same 4 set of strings. And then the turnaround for Brain Damage, this Floyd tune, has this lovely movement where we just shift our D chord up a tone. So this is now an E triad. If it's D here, if we move up, D sharp, E, this is really an E chord now. But we're still going to keep D in the bass. So you get this lovely inverted E7th. Fantastic haunting. Well, it's just got a lovely quality, that voicing, hasn't it? So D. Then A7th. And now again, you know, we've changed our chord, so we need to move our bass notes. To have A in the root, ideally, leading on the 1 beat. So you see I'm playing A, G, and our A7th voicing here. A, and then melody on the top. And back to D. And a D sus2 sounds great as well, just to finish. So open top string. Okay, so take it nice and slow, and the main thing is really just trying to work on getting that separated, that feeling of having the bass going and the melody sort of independently, or at least dancing around the bass notes. Okay, have fun.